though the winds of war raged across Europe in 1941, terrified of another world war, the United States remained stalwart isolationist, backed by Congress's Neutrality Acts passed in 1935 and 1937. Yet, Hitler's fascist tsunami threatened to drown the democratic world and crash against America's peaceful shores. The waves of Axis tyranny hurled our country into action. In the summer of 1941, President Roosevelt had convinced Congress to pass the Lend-Lease Act, providing vital supplies to the Allies. On August 9, 1941, he and Churchill met secretly off the coast of Newfoundland and signed the Atlantic Charter, upholding free trade among nations and the right of people to choose their own government. By September, after a German U-boat fired on a U.S. destroyer in the Atlantic, we were in an undeclared naval war with Germany. But the tectonic tremor that dislodged our heads from the sand came not from the Führer and the fatherland, but from Japan's torpedoes flaming through the skies to the unsuspecting decks of the U.S. Navy, anchored placidly to the docks of Pearl Harbor. We were not blind to Japan's thirst for empire. We had fortified the Chinese against them and cut off their oil shipments in July of 1941 to cripple their conquest. Yet they prepared to take us by surprise. They planned massive attacks in Southeast Asia and the Pacific, hoping to cripple the U.S. Navy, keying off their greatest naval strategist, Hirosuke Yamato, who declared that the U.S. fleet in Hawaii was
a dagger pointed at our throat must be destroyed.
The U.S. Navy had decoded a Japanese message that warned of a Pacific attack, but they did not know when or where that attack would occur. The secret was tragically and instantaneously exposed on December 7, 1941, when American soldiers at Pearl Harbor awoke to the roar of explosives, or never had the chance to awake. Within 2 hours, 21 ships were sunk or damaged. 188 planes were destroyed, while 159 were winged. America suffered 2,403 casualties, including 68 civilians, and 1,178 military and civilian wounded. The greatest casualty toll was aboard the USS Arizona, which was mortally wounded when an armor-piercing bomb ignited the ship's forward ammunition magazine, killing 1,777 crewmen. Of the 4 battleships sunk, only the Oklahoma and the Arizona were not raised, repaired, and sent back into action. They were beyond hope. They both lie where they fell, in Pearl Harbor, near their anchors. Today, a large white monument is anchored across the Arizona, memorializing all who had lost their lives that fateful day. A marble engraving contains the names of all its sailors who died with it. And still today, oil slicks emerge from the destroyer's belly and rise to the harbor's surface, where the sun illuminates the ship's oil slicks as if they are heartbreaking tears. The very tears that would inspire President Roosevelt's quote, that this would be a day that would live on in infamy, and the very tears of anger and shock that would ignite the American people to unite and to wholeheartedly commit to a victory in World War II, which Yamato recognized as a mistake when he declared,
I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve.
His prophecy would come true, and his proud empire of Japan humbled by America's revenge when General Douglas MacArthur accepted their surrender aboard the mighty Missouri in Tokyo Bay on September 2, 1945. Today, the mighty Mo lies anchored not far from the Arizona in Pearl Harbor, a museum and a memorial to America's ability to rise and reign victorious over the agony of defeat.